Hey everyone, we're here at the Mercedes-Benz Dream Cars Drive, and that one over there is the Mercedes AMG GTC. That looks fantastic, doesn't it? Next to it is the brand new CLS. So yeah, it's gonna be a good day. Okay boys and girls, we're now in the Mercedes-Benz CLS450, the brand new one just launched in Malaysia. The main highlight about this car is, of course, the looks, the style. You take one look at this car and you know, with the very tiny, slim window line, that it's gonna be a little bit compromised on the inside. So this, you can say it's a little bit, style over substance in a way, but yeah, I think it looks great. That has always been the way of the CLS. The first generation CLS was such a fantastic looking car. That was the thing that started all this four-door coupe craze. Now everybody's got them. Right up front is a brand new Mercedes-Benz Predator face. I'm not kidding, that's what they call it, the Predator face by Mercedes-Benz. This pretty much previews what's gonna come next. So from now on, most of the slightly niche, slightly more sporty models of the Mercedes-Benz range will have a similar face, which I think it looks great. The CLS from the start has always been the wow car of the Mercedes-Benz range, but this one, I think it's a little bit less wow, because back then the Mercedes-Benz range was really designed for old people. Everything was boxy and square. Whereas now, everything from the A-Class to the S-Class, even the SUVs, they're all such sexy beings. Whereas the CLS takes it to the next level still, but the divide is not as big. One thing I don't really like though is the back. It's a little bit squeezed. The taillights are a bit too small. It's like it's squinting at you. It's a big butt, but it's not very defined, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm not that big of a fan of that rear end. But yeah, let's move on to the way this car drives. There's big news up front. There's a brand new 3-litre inline-six turbocharged engine. This is the first of a brand new engine lineup for Mercedes-Benz. This replaces the old V6 engines that have been around for God knows how long. It was the W210 Mercedes-Benz E-Class that started the V6, and that was 1996. So it's been a good 22 years. Wow, yeah, I'm old. Yeah, anyway, this is now going to be the new lineup for Mercedes-Benz, and they've paired this engine with a new 48-volt electrical systems. I know it sounds like gibberish to you, but this is something that's really cool. Paired together with electric motors, so it's sort of like a semi-mild hybrid in a way. Mercedes-Benz claims that this has the performance of a V8 while being a 6-cylinder engine. So from what I felt, I think it's not quite a V8 because you don't get that rumble, you don't get that sound, that oral experience. So, but in terms of straight line speed, it's perceivable as a V8. Or maybe like a low-tuned V8, a very comfort-tuned V8 maybe. I mean, not to say it's slow. This thing has 367 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque, and it goes from 0 to 100 in just 4.8 seconds. And on top of that, there's the electrical motor with the 48-volt electrical systems that adds on an extra 22 horsepower and 250 Newton meters of electrical torque assistant. But before you think that this is like a glorified Prius, it's actually not. It's actually closer to the Nissan Serena S hybrid in a way that it's a mild hybrid, not a full-blown hybrid. So there's not going to be any full electric EV mode in this car. It's purely there to help the car use less fuel in as you let off, as you get go from a low speed. So all that assistance only happens through a very short burst as you move along. So that's when it feels most like a V8, I would say. As you drive along, as you go above, say, 60 kilometers per hour, it feels like a very nice inline-six. I wouldn't say it feels very different to Mercedes-Benz's previous V6, because in C43s and the E43s, those were fantastic engines, one of the best that I've driven. This one feels pretty much very similar actually. One thing that sort of lets this car down a little bit is the suspension option that we get here. Here we get the basic comfort agility control suspension, which is not adaptive. So it's a basic spring passive system instead of the more advanced adaptive systems that you can get in other markets. For the CLS, there's 3 different options of suspension. There's the base one that we get here. There's dynamic body control that is still steel, but it's adaptive, so you can manually select between comfort and sport and whatnot. And beyond that, there is airmatic suspension. That's full air suspension, so you can control the height, going up, going down, softer, harder, whatever it is. It's a bit lame that we are getting the cheapest suspension system for the CLS, because this is not a cheap car. It's well over $500,000 for God's sake. It's not a lot harder than a regular E-Class, but there's still a slightly harder edge to the ride quality. Even as you go on a fast highway stretch, you do feel a lot of the undulations. You do feel very uneven body control. The car sort of like floats even more than the air-sprung S-Class Cabriolet even. So it doesn't give it that much of a confidence boost if you drive it fast. I think more sophisticated, the more expensive suspension options would have fixed this in a much better way. Handling wise, it's not bad. You know the cliche saying that the 7 Series shrinks around you to make you feel like it's no bigger than say a 3 Series or a 5 Series as you drive it? That doesn't apply here. This is a massive car and it feels like it. This is longer than an E-Class. It's almost 5 meters long. The wheelbase is over 2.9 meters long. In terms of body control, a 5 Series will still run rings around this car. Let's be honest about it. The G30 5 Series is just so good in terms of its body control, its driving dynamics, that this car is good, but that car is great. There's still a big gap that Mercedes has to claw back. So in terms of handling, this is not the best version of the CLS. But again, you don't really buy a CLS to bring it to the racetrack, because it's not that kind of car. As it is, I think it's comfy enough while being exciting enough to drive, involving enough to be seen as something more exciting than a regular E-Class. So it's not too bad. Could be better with a different suspension, of course, but as it is, yeah, you could do a lot worse. Other than the suspension though, Mercedes-Benz Malaysia spec this up to the roof. This is the full Edition 1 version of the car. So it's got this particular car, it's got this beautiful maroon purple color on the outside. I think that looks fantastic. And it really goes well with all the copper threads that you see on the inside, through the seats and everything. That goes really well. It's not the best looking seats, I must say. It tries a bit too hard in terms of the quilting design. That sort of reminds me of someone from Mercedes-Benz is going to kill me for saying this, but it looks a little bit like the Pro Duo gear up seats. Look it up, seriously, it looks quite similar. As for the interior, this is pretty much the same interior as you get in the E-Class, in the E-Class Coupe and the Cabriolet, and that's not a bad thing, because this is a great place to be in, especially now that they've placed in more wood, less of that nasty fingerprint magnet, scratchy piano black pieces. In terms of design, again, it uses these very nice turbine jet inspired aircon vents, as you've seen in the E-Class Coupe, which I adore, by the way. But whereas that one is all about the style, this one there's actual substance to it. They've added an extra lighting element into the vents, so at night this goes full on wow. Like in E-Class Coupe, that interior is good enough to make everybody go wow. This one, I think you'll get a full-on Keanu Reeves The Matrix
Whoa.
And with this car's excellent refinement, you really get to enjoy the plushness of the interior. The seats are very nice and comfortable, full Nepal leather, of course, very soft. And I'm going at, yeah, I shouldn't say how fast I'm going, but let's just say it's pretty fast. And listen to the noise. I mean, yeah, there's very little, there's a small hint of wind noise coming into the cabin. It's really, really that good. Together with the Mercedes-Benz CLA, these two are pretty much the best cars in the world when it comes to aerodynamics. It has a drag coefficient of 0.25. That is beyond amazing, and therefore it cuts through the wind very, very easily without so much of a hint of wind noise. There's a little bit of tire roar, as you can hear, I'm sure, but that's more because of the tires rather than the wind noise. The tires, like I said, are massive on this car. 20-inch wheels, run flat tires, 275 section tires at the back. So yeah, there's always going to be that roar. But beyond that, this is a very nice, very refined car to travel long distance with. The rear seats, it's not that great. I mean, it's not for tall adults. I mean, if you're vertically challenged like me, it's all fine and good. But if you're really tall, yeah, you may want to sit in front. But for kids, you've got a small family of 4, this is fantastic. So to sum it up, the CLS, this is all about the style. Fashionistas, this car is the one for you. You want to roll up to the red carpet driving this car, that big magic Predator grille in front with the chrome pins, it's fantastic. It's not the best to drive, yes, I'll give it that, but like I said, it's not the point of this car. You want to look good? Buy this.